something else.
Okay, well, we're on live now, so we'll just see.
We'll wait for them to join.
This is always an anxious time.
I know.
There you are. 40 people are already online. Wonderful. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Do please put in the chat box your names and who you are and where you are calling in from. Yeah.
Welcome, everyone.
Oh, hello, Shernaz. Oh, great, great. Everybody. Oh.
Festus is there. Shirley. Hi, Shirley from Keep the Faith. Good to see you.
Shirley McGreal. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Mercy has joined us. Welcome, Mercy. Festus.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
I can't hear you. Oh. Okay.
Beverly has joined us. Evadne is with us.
Fantastic.
All great business persons. Maxine,
Brilliant.
Christine. We're getting going.
All right.
Our community are here.
I'm going to leave you to welcome everybody. I need to just check on something. I'll be back in.
Okay, fine. All right, everyone, I'm Paulette Simpson, and I am a director of the Voice newspaper. I'm also an executive for Jamaica National, and I am very happy that so many of you have joined on what is a very, very important engagement. We don't often have engagements like this, but it's very, very important. And just saying to you, we're very, very pleased to host this with Yvonne from WinTrade, and we welcome the minister in a few minutes' time. And as you know, since 1982, The Voice, Britain's leading Black newspaper, I hope you all support The Voice, have been campaigning on several issues. And needless to say, over the last 2 weeks, we've been very busy. We had COVID, we have Black Lives Matter. But one of the things that we have been quietly campaigning on is supporting Black businesses. And for previous years, we've campaigned for Black businesses in a very passive way. But since last year, we decided to take action. We have a Black business guide. For those of you who want a copy of it, just let us know. We'll post a copy to you. And that business guide highlights Black businesses from across the UK, from Scotland right down to Cornwall. And in addition to that, we have a Black business fair, which we had 2 years running, and we centered it around Christmas, because we know Christmas is the time when everybody gets their checkbook out. And it's really to say, let us support our businesses, because as you know, the Black pound is a very strong one, and we need to ensure that we generate economic activity in our community. So as we're here, we have excellent businesses from across the country. We have the services, we have people involved in shipping, we have hairdressers, we have barbers, we have jewelry makers, we have architects, we have an array of businesses. But in order for businesses to grow, they need support. And through this COVID period, the government has done various initiatives to support businesses. And we wanted to ensure that the businesses are aware of what's out there to support and to engage with the minister. You know, engagement is a very powerful thing. It allows people to know you're there. It allows people to give you this support you need. And most importantly, it gives you the information that will equip you to ensure that your businesses can grow from strength to strength. We know that there are challenges with marketing, but we know that one of the biggest challenges is really with accessing finance. And during these last 3 months, there's been a lot of businesses that are not sure about their future. But the government has put things in place to ensure that we can, as the singer say, we can ride through the storm. But most importantly, as a community, we need to support each other. We need to know who's out there and what they're doing and collaborate. I see now there are a lot of sites going up, and Facebook sort of listings of how we can support each other. Because sometimes you're in the same vicinity doing similar things and you don't know. So I'm really happy that at this time we have 343 businesses from across the country. Please let me know where you're coming from because I'm seeing the chat. I know we have East Croydon and West Sussex. I know we have Birmingham on. And Yvonne, we have reached 348. The minister is going to join us in a couple of minutes. We have, if you want a copy of the Black Business Guide, please just send it through and we will collate it and send it to you. But we have Yvonne back. Yvonne, if you want to say a bit about WinTrade. Yvonne has worked very hard on this. I just turned up.
I'm listening to you, you know, talking about the history of one of the greatest Black establishments in the UK. So you're right now talking about print, and I can go back in my history a little bit and talk about stuff online, because of course, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Yvonne Thompson. I run a business network for mostly for women, but on occasion for men as well, because we have to bring everybody along with us.
We don't want the brothers to feel left out, Yvonne. We don't want them to feel left out. A lot of them are logging on now.
So, yeah, so for those of you, my background is that I am one of the founding directors of Choice FM Radio. And for those of you who are very young, it's now known as Capital Extra. My background is in marketing and PR. As I say, I run a women's network. It's my women's network, WinTrade Global Network, that's invited most of you here today, or you will have got the information from us. And, you know, we just decided between Paulette and I decided we really needed to spread the word, get as much information out about the support that's available, and encourage more Black and BAME businesses to get involved. Make sure you access the funds, the support, the grants that are there. You're paying your taxes, you're entitled to this. So please ensure that you, at the very least, that you explore the possibilities. The minister will give you lots of information. We're all excited to hear about what he's doing and you know, how we can be helped. And for those of you who are into social media, please, please, please help us disseminate this information. We're going to be using a hashtag Minister's Question Time, which is there at the top of the screen, and put all your, you know, put all your quotes and some helpful, spread the information about what we're doing here. Invite people to come on board now, and oh gosh, invite people to come on board now and try to really just spread the word. I will dash in and out from time to time because I think I got a call from the minister's office, so I'm going to go and take that call.
I'm here. I will keep company.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Right. Yvonne used to work with The Voice many years ago. For those of you who are requesting copies, you can actually log on to The Voice website, go to publications, and you will see it there. But if you just leave your email address, I'll email you, I'll get your details, and we'll send it out to you. Ivadni, who runs our PR agency, says, I'm not just from London, I'm all over the UK. I hear you, I see you. And Sarita, I see you. I hope everybody seems to be logging on okay. Pauline, you seem to be cutting out. Just check your sound there for me. Do I have anybody from Birmingham? Make yourself known. From Manchester. God, we have to do this again. It's all very excited. Oh, Belgium. Okay. So Belgium is logged in. And we send your messages. I'm reading them. Let me know where you're from and what you're doing, because this is, I have Sugar Queen from Sydenham. Sugar Queen, what do you do? And Fiona Daniels, Fiona, I see you. Joy, I see you. And we're now at 406. We have somebody from Egypt. Manchester, all over. Now, what I'd also like to say, Black United Manchester. Manchester is making me know that they're there. Welcome, Manchester. London, we know you're there. Hackney's in the house. So there are quite a lot of persons from diverse business. Now, if you could just chat and tell me the type of businesses so I can share with each other the type of business that we have here. Now I have Pearl from Ghana. How would I like to be in Ghana right now with you, Pearl? Thank you. Ross from Brixton. Hi, Ross. Ross is in the house. Cardella from Dubai. Yvonne, we've gone international. We have Dubai, we have Egypt, we have Ghana.
I've got to tell you, my network is global, so I'm not surprised we've got people from all over the world.
There you go.
That the majority of us will be from the UK.
Yeah.
Okay, so the minister will be online shortly. But before the minister comes online, it'd be really good so we can get a kind of a jump start to get an idea of who, of who has actually had any kind of support or any kind of grants from the government. So we're going to, in a moment, we'll put up a poll, which only lasts for about 30 seconds. So we'll put up the poll. I know that I've missed out a word, so please forgive me. The poll should say, how much do you know about the government support available to small businesses? And we can see quite a few people know a bit about it. Only 13% are fully aware. Can you see the poll? Have we published the poll so everyone can see the poll?
Yes.
Sure, but
and people are clicking on, so it's good.
Yeah.
Yvonne, there's a question. Is this being recorded so they can watch it later?
Yes, it is being recorded and we will have a replay. So
okay, fine. For those who missed it or for those who want to watch it again, because a lot of information is going to be given. Yeah. So I hope you have your notebooks and your pens and you can look at it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're getting a good response from the poll, which should give us some good data going forward.
So if my moderator can make a note of the percentages, I'd be really grateful, so that we can feed back to them. In fact, you know what? Let me do it, because we will need to.
All right, you're getting down to it.
Feed it back to the minister.
Right.
Is on his way.
Yeah, we have a media advertising agency based in London. We have from the Black Country.
I know we've got Manchester, Birmingham.
Yes, I see them. Good.
Milton Keynes. Did I say Manchester? I can't remember.
Yes, Manchester.
Yeah.
And of course, your overseas network, they have also been coming in.
Yeah.
As I said, if you have any questions, you can submit them now, or as the minister speaks, you can type in your questions and we will choose a few. What we will commit to do, the questions that we won't be able to attend to in the forum, we will seek to have answers sent out in due course. The time is short. Well, we have good time, but what it means is that we may not be able to answer all your questions, so don't get disappointed. We will be committed to ensure that you get a response.
Okay.
We have Oxford in the house as well.
Various messages through that people will be joining us. People are stuck in meetings, but they will try and join us soon. Just let me go and double check on the minister's office again to see what's going on there. So Paulette, you're in charge again.
I am here. And let me just start promoting. I have Sophia, who has Candy Floss, which is a luxurious wig company. My mom runs the only Caribbean. Didn't see that. We have personal performance coach. I may need to tap into that. And we have a chocolate maker working with Grenada. and some questions are coming in. So once again, for those who are just joining, just to say we're here really to enable you to engage with the minister. This is the minister that is in charge of business, and he has a wealth of information to share with you. Jean, the hairdressers from Cricklewood, I see you in the house. We have a food bank, a church, and this is just so heartwarming. You know, when people say that, you know, that our community are not business people, do they really know what they're talking about? We already have 430 business from all. We have Snuggly, Bunnies, Nursery. I like those names. One Stop Smooth Ice Cream. Yvonne, I'm having fun, as you can see. We have mentoring. You know, we have kids recipe book. Tracy, welcome. Play with dolls, all of that. The Black country is here. I can see I can safely say that we have a very wide representation of businesses, large, small, and from a cross section of industries that have logged in. We're now at 432. Fiona owns a compliance consultancy in London. That's a very unusual space, Fiona. Well done, and keep in touch. And we see some questions coming in. The moderator will take that question. Now, some of you have applications that have been rejected. Please put that to the minister, because it could be that you need tweaking. Beverly, I see your very long question with Yvonne has. So we have quite a lot to go to. And it seems, Yvonne, that a lot of people here say they have applied for funding, but they have been declined. So that's probably one of the areas that we're going to need to focus on.
Yeah, that's something that we will do. We'll have a look at shortly. I'm just trying to contact the minister's office. They're having problems with their link.
Okay, fine.
Which is what happened to you earlier on. But I think we have enough people online ready as soon as he gets through that we can begin straight away. We can take down the poll now for the moment.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Perhaps what?
Someone has put a very long... Yeah, there's a lot of questions there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, keep the questions as short as you can, because we have to read them very quickly. Although I have my, yes, bounce back loan information. So that's something I know he's going to touch on. And a lot of you are sending through, thank you for us for hosting it. This is what we do. We ensure that our community are informed and empowered to succeed in their business. The only way business can expand is by support, it's by funding, it's by PR, it's by marketing, you know, it's by presentation. And it's funny because right here in this group of 436 persons, we have people who can already start to help each other to create business expansion for whatever they do. There's some startups here, and they can probably link with persons who are experienced in business. I see a data protection company coming in, and a lot of you will know that protecting your client's data is very important under GDPR, and if that's not adhered to, you could be fined, so that is good. Donna Herdsman, good to see you. Collaboration. Christine wants me to say that we need to collaborate and support each other. So perhaps another webinar is in the making here about people selling to each other, sharing expertise, buying from each other. One of the things that happened at the Voice Black Business Fair in December was that people, for the first half an hour, we were late starting the show because all the exhibitors were buying from each other and networking. Other people network, and we should be able to network with each other. So if you need something shipped, we have a shipping company. If you need help with your PR, how do you present yourself? How do you ensure that when you're going to go for a sales pitch that you're well equipped? We have persons here that can assist you to do that. We have somebody from New York. They're here with us, and it shows that there's a Black network of businesses that it's very important that we stay in touch with each other. We have wedding and events management. Is there a Facebook page that we can network? Yvonne is responsible for that, so I'm going to put that to her so that you can all network with each other. Care management software, that's Charmaine. Mark is agreeing with me there. That is good. We like support. We like support. You know, we've been locked down in COVID for a long time, and there's been a lot of people who have been working hard at home, isolating but keeping the business going. I want you to know that you're not alone. There are lots of people doing the same thing. But out of every crisis, good can come. Some persons have had time to rewrite their business plan, to answer all those emails they weren't answering, to make connections via the internet, and that's what it does. But never ever feel that you're alone. One thing for sure, there will be an end to this. And at the end, it's an opportunity to relaunch, do all the things that you couldn't do. Jennifer, you say you're at the fair. I hope you enjoyed it. So there's lots of messages coming through whilst we wait for the minister to join us. Yes, our Grover said, while we wait, is everyone aware that bounce back loan are 100% guaranteed? Yes, that is something. Thanks for sharing that information with us.
Hello.
Ah, and we have the minister with us. Well, whilst they sort that out and he comes on fully, June, Bella West in Brixton Village, you have your shout out.
Can you see me?
I know it's been challenging times, but we're all being challenged. But I would encourage you, don't get down about it. I know a lot of you have lost business, but the business will come back. So whatever you are doing, people will come back and support you. So we want you to keep the spirit going, keep the vibe going. All right, we have a minister with us. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can. You just need to get a little bit closer to the microphone, and we will make sure that you just get going. We've got about 450 people online. Hopefully the numbers will rise again, but that's a good start. So Paulette, I'm going to leave you to introduce the minister.
That's fine.
We'll go from there.
Right. So Minister, we have 440 businesses here with us from across the country. We have Manchester, we have Liverpool, we have Birmingham, we have London, we have Ghana, we have Egypt, we have New York on the line, all wanting to speak to you. So let me introduce you. Join me in welcoming NadhimZahawi, who is appointed as Parliamentary Under Secretary of State in the Department of Business. He was born in Baghdad to Kurdish parents. I had a long profile, but we're going to cut it short. But importantly, he was the founder of YouGov, which is one of the leading market research company, which is now famous for his polling. And he's co-authored a book, and he has quite a lot of experience behind him, and I encourage you to go online. But what I can say with the minister, and I've worked with him in a different hat, is that he is genuinely passionate about engaging with business. In April, he had a roundtable with business leaders from the BNME community, and just to share ideas and to hear from us what they could do to facilitate businesses across the country. So a lot of work has been done in supporting business, and the government has a mechanism to do that. This webinar is part of a process. So we're going to engage, we're going to listen, share your ideas, and Minister, the questions are coming in fast and furious. So I'm going to hand over to you, Minister. Here is your audience, eager to hear what you can do for them.
Thank you very much indeed. And it really is a pleasure to be with you today. I hope you and your families are all safe and well wherever you are in the world. I'm really pleased to be hosting this timely webinar with Paulette and Yvonne. This is a very difficult time for many BAME communities, paying a disproportionate really a disproportionate price in the fight against coronavirus. And Black and African Caribbean communities have been particularly affected by the appalling death of George Floyd and other Black people in America. I am acutely aware that this injustice is neither the American problem nor a recent one. And I was glad to see that the PM addressed this particular issue on Tuesday. We have our own problems in this country, and the treatment of the Windrush generation is a terrible example of that. They have suffered injustices from the successive governments. This government continues to apologize for this, but we know that words are not enough. We are determined to right these wrongs. To date, we have provided over 12,000 people with documents confirming their lawful status in the UK, including over 5,900 who have been granted citizenship. We've also launched the Windrush compensation scheme, now a year old, to ensure members of the Windrush generation are properly compensated for the losses and impacts they suffered as a result of being unable to demonstrate lawful status in the United Kingdom. And we will be publishing our response to the lessons learned review in this September. There will be much more work to do on these issues, and I want to be really clear at this moment that this government is absolutely willing to do them, not just to respond to COVID-19, but to right the long-standing wrongs. But what we are here to talk about today is the specific difficulties COVID-19 is creating for BAME-run businesses, and how we as a government can help you get through this challenging period. I am committed to supporting BAME businesses to weather the storm. This is why when Yvonne and Paulette suggested this webinar, it was an obvious yes for me that we had to do this. And it's really wonderful to see, I think, 460 of us on this call together. I used to run a business myself. I started a company called YouGov in a garden shed, funnily enough, in 2000. It's now a public company. And even with the challenging times, it's still doing incredibly well in what it does as a business. I know a bit of many of you, but I certainly know that what it's like to have a sleepless night trying to make a business work and making a profit. We faced the collapse in the financial and the internet bubble bursting and the financial markets in 2008, but we've never faced anything like this that you are facing today. So I do understand that these are difficult times, but there's really good support available to help businesses like yours get through this pandemic. And I'm going to talk you through that support and how you can access it before taking your questions. You will be sent a follow-up email, by the way, so you don't need to make any notes about websites or telephone numbers or anything else or names of schemes. You'll get all of that later in an email from us. Broadly speaking, there are two ways the government is supporting businesses like yours. The first is with money, and the second was with information. So I'll start with the money first. Most people know about the furlough scheme that allows companies to claim 80% of their employees' wages. It can be backdated to the beginning of March and runs to the end of October. There is similar help for self-employed people as well. We're also offering firms deferral on their VAT payments, so that money owed in March is paid at the end of this month instead. And we're also guaranteeing loans so that businesses do not run out of cash. You access these loans through banks as usual, but they are backed by the government. One of these loans, the scheme, is targeted very much at small businesses. It's called the Bounce Back Loan Scheme, and it lends up to £50,000, which is interest-free for the first 12 months. The application form is really quick and really easy, and the money should be in your bank within 24 hours. And the loan is 100% backed by the government. If you're not sure what support you are eligible for, the best thing to do is to go to the government's online support finder tool. You just fill out a very simple questionnaire about your business, and it tells you all the financial support options available to you. There will be a link to that in the follow-up email I mentioned earlier. So that is the money side of things. But as I said, we're also providing information. We've published a series of guidance on making sure your workplace is safe during the pandemic to help businesses get going again. These cover different workplace settings like restaurants, offices, retail, different places, different guidance. We have a series of really good webinars that you can watch and sign up to. They give more information on running your business safely and the support that is on offer. And you can sign up for bulletins as well, so that you get updates on the support available and alerts about new webinars straight into your inbox. I'm aware that I have given you quite a lot of information. So to simplify what I'm saying, for what it's worth, if I were still running my business, I would do three things. One, I would check the support my business is eligible for using the online tool. Two, I would go to gov.uk, gov.uk, and look at any webinars relevant to my business. And three, I would sign up for the bulletins. Why? Because I will then be able to have information as the government changes things that may affect my business really up to date, so that you could make sure that that information is as fresh as we can make it. And I hope you will do the same if you have not already done so, because there is really good support out there, and we need to make sure it's being accessed to everyone who's eligible. Not only to protect the hard work and livelihoods of business owners like yourselves on this call, but because companies will be critical to drive our national economic revival. That is why I'm going to end by asking you for a favor. As I said, you'll be getting an email with links to all the initiatives I have spoken about. The favor I'm asking you is please share that email with as many businesses, as many friends who run businesses that you know that could also benefit, because we want them to come forward so that we can actually help them. Help us get the word out there to protect businesses, support BAME livelihoods, and power our economic recovery. Thank you for listening to me.
Okay, that's been absolutely amazing. There's a lot of information that you passed over to us in a very short period of time, Minister, so thank you so much. We've got lots of questions. I think you may have answered some of the questions that we previously had. But just to let you know, just before you came on, we had a very quick poll asking how much people on the call know about government support in general. And there was 18% that knew nothing. There's 18% that were fully aware. 26% knew something, but not very much. And 37% knew enough, or so they think they knew enough. So to me, that sounds as though there's still a lot of marketing to be done. I think when we talked at the round table, one of the suggestions was, the equivalent of boots on the ground to businesses. Make sure that, there's nothing that beats hard copy. I know a lot of people are so into online and emails, which is how we did this, luckily. But, you know, is there a way that we can get...
Get that door for me, I might be online in a minute.
Oh, okay. Carl, can you turn your microphone off for a moment? We've got Carl George, who is from Birmingham, who will be asking you a question about that region. But we need to think about more imaginative ways of getting to businesses and encouraging them. And one of the things that was raised before you came online was having more of these types of webinars where we feel we can talk directly to government. Because right now, government is a faceless organization, and it's only opportunities like this that we even get to know what the minister looks like. So I hope that's something that you will take into consideration. Previously, there was an equivalent of, you know, there were support agencies such as Business Link in the various areas, like Business Link for London, all over the country. So people could almost literally walk into somewhere and ask for that support. I know we're asking a lot, but in order for us to thrive and survive, we need to have support at our fingertips. So that's something for you to think about. You don't have to answer that now. We do have online Carl George, who's from Birmingham, who wants to ask you a question. So let's see if we can get Carl on. Carl, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you want to go on camera, or are you just going to do voice?
I'm happy to go on camera. Is that for me to do something, or?
Yeah, you need to click on the icon. There's one that's microphone and there's one that's camera.
Sorry, I'm not seeing the camera here.
Okay, next to the microphone icon.
Hi, Carl.
Hi, how you doing? Is it come up now?
Go ahead with audio. Let's keep it moving. Go ahead with audio.
Okay, okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Minister, for the question, for the information. And you started off by talking a bit about racial injustice and that lives matters. And if you remember back from the 80s, we had the riots and we had Scarman, we've had Macpherson, we've had Cantel, we've had so many reports and statistics about African Caribbean community. And some of the solutions that we hear go back to business, they go back to economics, they go back to education. So does the government recognise the difference between the African Caribbean within the BAME and sometimes the sectors that we work in, we're overrepresented in? And is there any specific targeted support for our communities? I know that you've looked at the bounce back loan in terms of finances now, but what about going forward? Are there going to be long-term sustainable strategies that we as the communities here can benefit from?
Okay, do you need to, Minister, do you want to go ahead and answer that question?
I didn't hear the question.
Oh, wow. Okay, what's the question, Carl, directly? Can you hear Carl, first of all?
No.
All right, so Yvonne, why don't you just summarize the question?
Okay, so to be honest, I was busy inviting other people back on. So Carl, can you ask that question again?
Yes, right. Minister.
My assistant has just sent me the question.
Carl's
question was is there any specific support for just BAME community? I mean, obviously, we're looking at the report that we commissioned, Carl, around the health outcomes for BAME community and the impact of COVID-19 on BAME community. Certainly in certain communities, they're twice as likely to die from COVID-19. And so there's a piece of work going forward by my colleague, Minister Badenoch, Kemi Badenoch, who's taking this forward to test, for example, as the Prime Minister announced a couple of days ago, all bus drivers and other public sector workers from the BAME community to protect them more. In terms of business support, the business support is available to any business, but some of the research that has been conducted, and your poll today as well, the evidence is there that a lot of BAME businesses don't really know how to go about to access this funding and the support. If you look at your numbers, it's about 44% of the people on this call, almost 500 people on this call, actually have very little or no information about how to access it. The bounce back scheme is very straightforward. If you contact your bank, it should be an online form. You fill it in, you should get the money within 24 hours. And if you have any problems, please come back to me and let me know, because I'd like to know about that. We've delivered £23 billion through the bounce back schemes to date, and we want to do more of that. And of course, the grants through local government, and now they have discretionary grants as well available to help businesses. So there's a number of schemes, and I'm going to make sure that everybody online, there's 500 of us now, will get that email with all the details. So don't worry about taking notes of the schemes or the details. I will send out all the details to you, and your feedback will be most welcome, Carl.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Carl. We got you on camera in the end, so we can see now. We're watching you.
Okay.
I can see you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to let you. I'm going to eject you, as it says here, as a presenter, and ask James to come online. There you go. James is all ready. Go for it, James.
Good afternoon, Mister. My name is James.
I can't hear you, James.
Oh, 1 second.
Are you on mute?
We can hear him.
We can hear him.
Can you hear me, Minister? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Fantastic. Well, good afternoon. My name is James Adeleke, Chief Executive of a social enterprise called Generation Success, working to move forward equality and get young people into careers. So brilliant. My question is, business in the community recently released a fact sheet, and it was titled Ethnicity and the Economic Impact of COVID. And it showed that BAME communities are more negatively affected across the board by COVID and also past economic downturns. How will you ensure that businesses aren't disproportionately affected in the way that they have been in other downturns?
Thank you for that, James. You're absolutely right. It's something that we have to be alive to and focus on. I did a roundtable earlier with the professional and business services sector, which is effectively anyone in legal, accounting, in marketing, all the different services. 80% of our economy is services, and this subject came up in terms of as we come out of the COVID-19 challenge. A number of companies are announcing redundancies, and what we've got to make sure that it doesn't disproportionately impact people of BAME background. So it's something that we are alive to. What we want to try and do, which is what we did with the furlough scheme and all the other schemes. So if you think about this, James, I see this in 3 chapters. Chapter 1 was we're facing a global pandemic emergency. We have to wrap our arms around the economy and jobs, which is why Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, announced the furlough scheme, the C bills, CL bills, the bounce back scheme, the future fund for innovative companies that are still loss making, but nevertheless would be hugely profitable in years to come, and we had to keep them alive. All the schemes were designed in the favor. Now that we're in chapter 2, we're asking businesses to get back to work and reopen the economy. All the interventions we make have to be reviewed with that in mind, because they'll have a very different profile when you're asking people to reopen than when you ask them to close their businesses. And then the final chapter is what fiscal and non-fiscal stimulus can we inject in the economy so the recovery is as dynamic as we can make it, so that we make sure we try and minimize the number of job losses across the economy And if there are job losses, then there is the support there in place for those who lose their jobs, as well as the ability to reskill, upskill, retrain. And we're looking at all of that as we speak now across government. I'm working with the Secretary of State for Education, with the Secretary of State for the Department for Work and Pensions, so that we make sure the support is there for those people. The best thing to do, obviously, is to make sure we get the recovery right, so as few companies have to let go of people as possible.
Definitely. I'd love to engage with you and to see how we can, save some of the 2020 generation and, upskill and get them to jobs. It'd be great to have a one-to-one conversation if possible.
Yeah, send me your details.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, James.
Yvonne, can I just make a comment there, if I may?
Sure. I'm going
Minister, some of the things...
Before you do that, I'm going to reject... Sorry, it sounds awful. I'm going to reject James and invite...
James, you're being rejected. Never mind. Minister, just looking at the chat that's coming in, a few of the immediate responses are that bounce back loans from some banks are taking as long as 5 weeks, and that a lot of businesses that don't have a premises but probably sublease from other businesses are not entitled to some of the benefits, especially as it relates to council tax and things like that. So what we're finding is that there are a lot of businesses that are unique, especially micro enterprises that are unique, that don't feel as if they can access the bounce back loan. I know from experience from other people that bounce back loan can be done in 24 hours, because a lot of businesses I interact with have done it in 24 hours. But for some banks to take as long as 5 weeks would probably be a little bit distressing. And the other thing that's coming through is that some banks that don't offer bounce back loans, their customers are not knowing what to do. But I can answer that, because there are some banks that will give bounce back loan to non-customers. So once again, I support what you say with the website. Is all on the website. I have seen it myself.
Right.
Back to you, Yvonne.
Great. So we have Elsie Owusu. Can you hear us, Elsie? Okay, she's there, but she probably hasn't switched on her microphone. Okay.
Hey. Hi, Elsie.
Oh, yeah, she's trying. Can
I answer a question in the meantime?
Please do.
Yeah. People are asking about the payback percentage on the bounce back loan, and what this is telling me is that persons haven't really accessed the information, because you don't have to start repaying for a year, right, Minister? I'm answering your question.
Correct. You are doing brilliantly. You're doing brilliant. You're phenomenal.
So the information, in fact, persons in the chat are answering each other's questions. So some persons clearly have tapped in to ask questions. Now, there's another question that came through to do with self-employed. Let's hear self-employed. Do you want to say a few words on the self-employed, Minister?
Yeah. So what the Chancellor did was he extended the scheme for the self-employed for effectively another payment to go up again in a lump sum for an additional 3 months. As he extended furlough out to October, he extended that scheme as well.
Okay. And all of that is on the website.
Okay. I don't think we're having much luck with Elsie, but Elsie really wanted to... Oh, she's joined the room. Just as I'm giving up on her, she's joined the room. Okay. Elsie, go ahead and ask your question. Hello, Elsie, can you hear us? Okay.
All right. You want me to ask a question in the meantime?
Yeah, I think I'm going to line up the next question. Elsie,
all right. Minister, a very interesting question. Do you have any support for businesses that are led by Black women? I don't know how you're going to answer that one.
Well, you know what? I need more businesses to be led by Black women, Black men, to be engaged with me and with the department. Which is why I remember we did the round table together, Yvonne and Paulette. We need to make sure that we give more opportunities to Black women, Black men to engage with government, because diversity makes us all much stronger. I had the privilege to be a non-exec director in a company many years ago, before I became a minister, called S3, which was led by a black man called Gary Eldon. A brilliant man, did a phenomenal job, built a world-beating business with £1 billion turnover. And we need more black men and women to be engaged with government. You're all out there. You're doing amazing things. Please engage with us.
Okay. So just to let you know that Carol Stone, who also became part of YouGov, is one of my very good friends, as is Gary. I was on the Alito Foundation, which Gary formed.
Yes.
So yeah, we're all moving in the right circles. We have Elsie. I've just turned off her camera. Elsie, can you turn your camera back on, please? Thank you. So,
hi, Elsie.
Elsie, please go ahead and ask your question. And then we have one more question from John Obaseki, and then we'll see how you are for time, Minister. You need to turn, Elsie, your microphone.
So my question is really about the bounce back loan, and I've successfully applied for the bounce back loan, but I know people who have fallen through the cracks, as it were. So 130 leaders of the construction and design industries have written to Prime Minister Boris Johnson to see how we can work creatively with the government to have fairer access to public procurement after lockdown, because we feel that a lot of the procedures exclude small and minority ethnic small businesses, of which many are black and minority ethnic. So we would love to work with you to find a creative way to make sure that we can survive, as Yvonne says, survive and thrive after we go back to the different normal that we expect.
Elsie, that's a great question. If your friends have had difficulty with the bounce back, please again get them to get in touch, because we want to make sure that those people who need the bounce back loans get the bounce back loans. I just want to cover very quickly, Paulette, earlier you mentioned some businesses who don't pay business rates because they.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Your microphone.
Yeah, we're not hearing you, so you may need to repeat that.
Oh.
I think he'll be back on soon. Technology.
Okay, can you try again? We can't hear you. Microphone. Okay, your question won't be answered right now, Elsie. Minister, can you hear me?
Perhaps I can, Yvonne. Perhaps I can pick that up with you afterwards.
Separately. Okay.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
I'll make an introduction. I think we already have made an introduction to the communications team, and you should be able to pick that up directly with the minister. Minister, there should be a reconnection button somewhere on near your screen, and if you can reconnect and come back in, that would be great.
Yeah, but as the minister has said, the information that he's given will be sent to everybody by email. A few people are saying how to connect. We will send something out once we spoke to the minister to see if you have any questions. Well, so a lot of questions haven't been answered because of the time, but we will filter the questions in, and we'll ensure that you get an answer. And I want to take the opportunity to thank Yvonne, because Yvonne has that task of administering this webinar.
Thank you.
But you did a good job.
Elsie, I'm going to eject you because we've got one or two people more to come through if the minister manages to come back on. All right. Soon.
All right. I think you're enjoying ejecting people, aren't you, Yvonne?
Not at all. Not at all.
But I want to say thanks to everybody who's really logged on. We're at 460. And what this has shown is that we have a demand for this. And it's relatively easy to put together if people are interested in attending. A lot of people attended, were logged in, registered very late. We ask you next time, please get in there with the registration so that we can assess the level of interest. But what for sure, there has been a great level of interest in this exchange. And we have the minister back.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Okay.
On over to you.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Good. I just wanted to answer that question because it's a really important question. One was on the people who don't pay business rates because they may be in shared accommodation. Right. We made an additional 617 million available to local authorities, which is called a discretionary fund, that they can actually target that money precisely for this purpose, because obviously we want to make sure that those businesses don't fall between the cracks, and that's really, really important that we deliver that. And I just want to now go back to about procurement. The lady that was on about procurement, she's still online because
she's still hearing.
She's still hearing you.
There's a very important work stream that I. Excellent. It's Elsie, right?
Correct.
Elsie, we're working across governments. I'm working with Minister Theodore Agnew, on a green paper on procurement, because the government, both national.
Oh, minister's connection's not great.
Across government, and we want to make sure now that we're out of the EU, and by the January the 1st, we should hopefully have a deal on free trade. But we're then allowed to look at our procurement methods in the UK. We want to flex our procurement to make sure there's more UK content and especially more SME content within that.
Okay, we've got our last two questions for you, Minister, unless you want to stay longer, but we know your time is tight and precious, but if you can stay longer, that's great. We should have Jennifer Obaseki, who is a solicitor's firm, online. Jennifer, can you hear me? I'm not sure that she can hear me yet. Okay, what about Hannah? Hannah, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you want to put your camera on?
Yes.
Let me see. I thought it was on, but
well, don't worry. As long as we've got the question.
Right. Let me just shoot, so as not to waste time. Sorry about that. Thank you, and thanks, Minister, for the time. My name is NadhimZahawi. I'm a journalist at CNN. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
I'm sure the minister can hear me.
Yeah, his link is a bit weak. But keep going. Someone will send the message, the question through.
So, Minister, my questions are just around whether you have figures on how many BAME businesses actually have accessed the bounce back loan. I see that a lot of people in the chat are saying that they've either struggled or they're finding that banks are not approving their loans. So the questions are do you know how many businesses have received funding, and where they are not receiving funding or where they're being rejected by banks, do you know why? Do you have figures on kind of, how many have applied, and of those who've applied, how many have actually received the loans and how many have been rejected for loans? That would be great if you have. And then, unfortunately, I missed some of your comments on the procurement question because I think it kicked me out while it was setting up my camera and mic. And I know that you said once Brexit is through, you will kind of work to make sure there's more UK content from the government. Can you just talk a little bit more about how the government will ensure that it procures more from small Black-owned businesses in the UK, whether it might look at quotas or, what sort of concrete steps could it take, both the government and I guess the private sector? Thank you.
Okay, maybe he didn't get all of that. I'm wondering if Jessica or any of the team can just repeat that. But basically, I think that Hannah, I think the minister's disappeared again. I'm not sure if you can still hear us. Okay, can you still hear me?
Hi.
Okay, so I don't know if you heard Hannah's question, but basically, how many minority owners?
I did, yes.
Well, there we go.
Ah, hello.
Hi. Sorry.
Hi, Hannah. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So as of the 9th of June, Hannah, 782,000 businesses, 782,000 have actually got the bounce back loans. That's about 23 billion pounds, and it's been probably one of the most successful schemes that we've introduced, of course, as well as the furlough scheme, which has 9 million people receiving their wage packet through the furlough scheme at the moment. And of course, then there is the CBILS, which is Coronavirus Business Interruption Scheme for SMEs up to 45 million pounds in help. And then the larger scheme, the CL bills, up to 200 million in help, where we guarantee 80% behind it. And then there's the Future Fund as well. On procurement, what we're doing, Hannah, is a green paper, so that we look at procurement across government and how we procure and make sure that the social value is also taken into account, as well as the sort of the value for money, as in how what's the best bid effectively in any procurement. That's an important piece of work across government because, as I said, the government, both national and local, procure about 292 billion pounds a year, and we want to make sure we have more UK content and especially more SME content, so they have access to that procurement. Hence the green paper that we are working on.
Do you have it? I mean, are any of those procurement initiatives geared specifically at Black-owned businesses? And then just quickly on the numbers of businesses that have received bounce back loans, that's 782,000. Do you know how many of those are Black-owned?
No, because the lenders, if it was a sort of trade-off between speed of getting the scheme up and running and getting money out of the door, and how much information we'd want them to sort of collect and send back. And so I don't have the breakdown, I'm afraid, by BAME, but we have regional breakdowns. Obviously, can supply you some of that data that we've published. And in terms of procurement, it's really targeting all SMEs across the board.
Okay. Hannah, I'm going to cut you short because we have one more. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Thank you for joining in. We're going to go over to Jennifer. Jennifer, can you hear us? Please answer.
Yes, I can.
Short question.
Short question. Minister, thank you for joining us. My question is really around what access can be given to migrants for some of the government policies. Many migrants who are self-employed and in business actually have no recourse to public funds. So even though they're self-employed, they can't access some of the initiatives that are in place. In addition to that, can some of those who are subject to immigration control that are in business have discretion on payment of their NHS surcharge, which, as you know, is over £1,000 in addition to their immigration fees? So my question is really around those clients who are self-employed and those who are subject to immigration control.
Yeah, Jennifer, of course, the issue of no recourse to public funds obviously been brought up in Parliament as well, and the UK has got a proud track record of welcoming immigrants to this country, but obviously we also expect them to pay their own way until they have settled status in the United Kingdom, and so that other countries do the same thing, and I think it's only right that people coming. My parents came to this country in 1978, paid their way, and this country's given us so much in return as well. And so I think it's important that we continue to welcome people if they are obviously asylum seekers. There's a whole other set of help and support available to people. But if you're emigrating to the United Kingdom, then there is a procedure that is long-standing and available to people to do that.
Amazing. Okay, Jennifer, I'm going to stop you there. I'm so sorry, but thank you very much for coming on with that question. That's been amazing. Minister, before we go, we want to do one more poll just to see how people have, absorbed that information. And if we can get the poll up, the second poll up, we can begin to understand. Sorry, I'm trying to get my...
But Minister, whilst Yvonne is doing that.
Okay, sorry, it started, but we can still talk. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, a lot of persons have been saying that this has been quite beneficial and more persons wanted to ask questions. Can I put you on the spot in front of over 400 people to say, will you facilitate this in the near future once again?
Yes. Yes and yes, absolutely. I've enjoyed it, and I hope
we have more work to do. Yeah, this has been, despite the technical hitches, we're getting through, so that's good, and we can see that there's a demand for this.
Definitely, and I hope we learn from this and we make the technology smoother and smoother as we make these engagements, more fulfilling for people.
Yeah. Well, we want to make sure that everybody's engaged by asking them questions. And the second poll is, after the minister's talk, do you feel more comfortable applying for support? And so the percentages have changed wildly. 62% say yes, only 7% say no, and 30% are. So you've done a good job. Well done.
Brilliant.
So we'll be back in touch with your office, unless you're happy to stay for some more questions.
I've got to run.
I thought so.
Okay, you're more than you allocated, but
thank you so much. We've got lots of really great questions, and we will make sure your office gets them, and then we will also ensure that that everybody gets all the links and things that you're talking about. We will email them after. And if you want to pen a note, especially to everyone who's been on the webinar, I will make sure that they get it. So you've done a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us. And we'll see you again soon.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So to everybody who was logged on, we want to say thank you very much.
Yeah.
As I say, Yvonne will say a little bit about WinTrade. We encourage you to support the Voice newspaper, log on and subscribe so we can continue to do work like this. But we want to thank you very much. Yvonne, over to you.
Yeah, just before we finish, again, thanks ever so much to everybody that's been on. I hope it's been of use to you. And as we discussed with the minister, we'll try and pin him down again, maybe in 3 months' time. Maybe we can do this quarterly, or certainly again before the end of the year, just to see how everyone's got on, and how many of you, after this particular event, has actually gone ahead and managed to secure your loans or your grants or whatever support you're looking for. But before you all disappear, one of the things that I would like to share with you, and excuse me a second, Paulette, we are at WinTrade. A lot of you know about WinTrade Week and WinTrade Awards. And in fact, this week would have been our live week. And tomorrow would have been our gala awards dinner. So in a way, this is fitting. But this also marks the beginning of a series of talks which we'll be doing. And I'm just going to put this slide up very quickly so that you can see, as of the 2nd of July, we'll be doing WinTrade Global Talks. And we will have women and one man of the month every month, who is a global expert, a business expert, sharing their journey and all their challenges with you. And as you can see, our very first speaker is the Vice President of Facebook, and that's Lady Nicola Mendelsohn, and she's at Facebook in the UK. So she'll be talking about her journey, about Facebook. We'll be talking about how companies have managed through COVID, and then she'll be sharing some tips and tricks and all the things that you need to make sure that your business survives. And then we move on to some other fantastic women. It's global, so we will have women from all over the world. And the second speaker is from Oman, which is Her Highness Al Sayed Basma, who some of you may have met last year when she came to the WinTrade Global Awards. Everybody in the UK should know by now Gina Miller, who's actually Guyanese, from my home country, my home girl, my homie. And so
I just said she's a Caribbean woman, so we can all own her, right?
Well, what is this? You know, when the Jamaicans get on board, they get on board. So I get very few chances to say, yeah, the Guyanese mafia. So Gina will be talking about Brexit, her company, and the future as she sees it in Britain. And then on Thursday, July the 23rd, we have Akmaral Batalova, who won one of our awards last year as well. And she's an international war correspondent from Kazakhstan. So you can see the true global nature. We have a whole range of speakers lined up already to take us through. And we'll be sharing with you everybody who's been nominated. I think some of you who've been nominated for Global WinTrade Awards this year, we'll be emailing you and telling you what our next steps are, either tomorrow, but definitely by Monday. So once again, you know, we can either stay online and carry on with a little bit more chat, but I think the fact that the minister is now left the building, as they say, is probably a good time for us to move on and just get ready for the next session. Yeah. But I hope that after the event, some of you guys will get on Twitter and do a hashtag Minister's Question Time, tell other people what they've missed, spread the news, the things that the ministers have said. We've got great questions, and we will download all of these questions and sift them and send them over to the minister's office. So he will be able to read those questions. But thank all of you who joined in. You know, thank everybody for being online at such an interesting time. You know.
And if I say thanks to Yvonne, she did most of the work, right? She did most of the work with the technology. Wow. But thanks to Yvonne and her WinTrade organization. I want to thank all of you. I mean, there's a lot of good comments coming in. It seems as if you all had a good time, and everybody's leaving now. So we just want to say thank you so much. Support WinTrade and support the Voice newspaper. It is your newspaper, and you log on and you'll see more of these type of engagement happening. The Voice is committed to supporting Black businesses because we have to ensure that there's economic wealth in our community, and we're supported. So please log on and subscribe to The Voice. Support us, we can support you even better. And thank you all, and have a wonderful evening, and remember to stay safe.
Absolutely, stay well.
Bye, everyone.
And if it applies, stay in for as long as you can.
If it applies, stay in. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And sometimes these people are just, I'm going back into the chat.
Hold on.
Yeah. It's all right. I've gone back into the chat. I just want to see the comment.
I think you are still on air. Hold on 1 second.
Back on air. I've just got back on air because I wanted to see the chat, but we can deal with that. Let me come off. Let me come off.
But you can just turn your microphone off if you want. Okay. Yes, I'll print them and make sure. We'll download everything and make sure the minister gets it and make sure that we respond to everybody. So that's not a problem.